Well, that just happened. Welcome back to KA4UPW's Shack. Hopefully this time the recording is not fast forwarded at 100 miles an hour and there's audio. I'm not very good at this. You want a good video, go look at TO, Temporary Offline, Smoking Ape, the Ham Radio 2.0 guys, Dennis over there in California with his Raspberry Pi headless stuff, and of course Jason out of Texas. These guys all put together very good videos. Like, they're comfortable in front of the camera. Their editing skills and software is second to none. They figured out the audio and the sound and all that. I'm just one of you guys, so what you see is what you get. Not very good at this, but if you can tolerate some poor video shots, the out of blurry focus, times of blur, where I can't get this thing to seem to focus right. That's what you're going to get with mine. But hopefully you'll learn something, see what I'm doing with the Shack, and follow along. So, it's been a while since I released a video. Life has been very busy for me. I was in the middle of rewiring the Shack. If you watch some of the earlier videos, you can see the audio rack coming together and a few other things. I had this rack, the Shack pretty much working the way I wanted. Now it was just a time to clean up all the wiring, as you can imagine. So with the wiring all pulled apart and me hastily putting everything back together, hurricane came, knocked down all my antennas. So the entire station's off the air now for a couple of years. I built 2 new towers. They're up for the most part. I still have some antennas to fiddle with up there. Let's see, we've had 1 baby come, 2 grandbabies come, grandbabies that is. My son's got married. He's got a baby on the way. And work, of course, was always real. So it's been a while. It's not a race, it's a process. I am now retired. I retired back in July. Yoo-hoo. So I have a little more time to dedicate. Of course, my wife's honeydew list is keeping me pretty busy, and that's okay. We do have a nice piece of property out here, and so I do enjoy, we're 5 miles off the beach, so what can I say? I live where most people come on vacation. So anyhow, back about me a little bit. Why ham radio? Everybody likes ham radio for different reasons. You've got the guys that do EME, Earth, Moon, Earth, VHF, UHF, the digital modes, slow scan, fast scan television, HF, single sideband, AM, CW, Morse code, and a plethora of digital modes, which I can't even count them all. So there's something in ham radio for everybody. And if you're thinking about getting into the hobby, I highly encourage it. It starts off, very untechnical and unassuming, and then kind of builds to quite some knowledge about radios and transmissions. I started when I was 12 years old. And now, I'm just a recent retired electrical engineer. It influenced my life a lot. So anyhow, what is I like about ham radio? I like the technical side, the engineering challenges, putting together a station, making the antennas the best I can. Every antenna is a compromise, right? You're compromised by the height you can get it, the trees you can use, the homeowners association, your budget. Everything's a compromise, right? So the idea is to find the compromise that best fits your needs, and budget and everything else, right? Roll all into one. And building your station the best that you can in your circumstances. And I also enjoy modifying my equipment when necessary, interfacing it with the computers or with other processing, pre or post processing gadgets. Again, it's the technical side. I want to do everything a little bit, maybe nothing great, but follow along and you'll see as we put the station back together. So let's just start. I'm going to reintroduce you to the Shack. I'm going to take a little tour around here, show you where we're at with the rewiring, where we're at with the antennas, and possibly we'll discuss some of the future projects that you can follow along with. So first of all, I have an electrical bench. I'm sitting at it right now. The radio equipment's behind you, and we'll swing that camera around in a minute. My bench is lavishly equipped. You don't need everything I'm going to show you, but I'm going to walk you through what I've got. And I'm not going to do any deep dives on any piece of equipment. If you see something you want more information on, then I will share that with you personally, or perhaps even make a whole video out of it. Depends on, the number of questions I get and the kinds of questions. So first of all, I do have an oscilloscope. This allows me to look at waveforms, mostly in the audio waveform, right? So I can, I can look at tones, single tones, complex frequencies. It gives me an idea of what I'm producing. Above that is an LCR meter. Very handy piece of equipment. If you're going to turn your own coils, do some experimenting, build your own filters or anything like that, there's lots of good information out there. You'll watch Smoking 8-Bit Tio doing it all the time. They're winding this toroid and it's 16 turns of this and 5 turns of that. You want to get 33 microhenries of inductance. Okay, how do I know I'm going to do 16 turns? But how do I know? So I like the LCR meter because every inductor's core has got a little bit different. Your wire might be a little different. So maybe it's 16 and a half turns, right? You can do that extra half turn. Or maybe it's 17 turns or 14 turns. Somewhere in there is going to give you your 35 microhenries. So it's nice to be able to measure, have confidence that you've set that thing right, and move on, right? Otherwise, do you really know if you're trying to debug something, well, maybe the inductor's not right, how do I measure it? You don't need a fancy piece of equipment like this. Just get a voltmeter with capacitance and inductance measurements on it. This guy will get you far. I have one right here, right? I take that portable with me. This stuff's not very portable, but it's very handy. I've got all my wires. I got plenty of hookups. So, from a bench standpoint, if I'm working on something here, I don't need to go looking for anything. It's all hand, but not all necessary. Above that is a voltmeter. Again, same thing as this. It's a little more sophisticated, but it's still a voltmeter. Some of these things I can put cards in and capture images and share them and stuff like that. But with the standard one and the phone, you can take a picture and send it to somebody if you got questions. So I have a nice voltmeter, and above that is something that's probably none of you would ever use, but it's an arbitrary waveform generator. Very fancy word for signal generator. And basically I can create two tones, right? I can create two tones and amplitude or frequency modulated, whatever that is, send it through my, send it out and put my rig here and test it and say, well, let's look at FM deviation. I need a two-tone test. I'm going to put in these two tones, I can do that on here. Being an arbitrary waveform generator, I can program just about any waveform I want to reproduce it, which makes it about as valuable as a service monitor. Difference of a service monitor is if you want to measure specific things, it's got the settings built in. I want to do, you flip a knob, you turn it on, you make your measurement. Those things cost thousands. This thing for a couple $100, I have to set it up, program it, right? Just save it in memory so that I can come back to that setting again. And so you kind of create your own library of tools. Not as straightforward, but yeah, a couple $100 versus $1,000, $1,500. Even on eBay, some of the old ones that really aren't that great, never were that great, are just going for crazy money. On top of that, soldering iron, soldering station. You're going to need a good soldering iron. So get a solder, get 2 rolls of solder, one that's lead-free solder, and one that's tin lead still, depending on the age of equipment you're using. You're going to need a solder sucker, something for desoldering, and some alcohol and Q-tips for cleaning up your work. Not so bad. Beyond that, I've got not only a soldering iron, I have a hot air station so that I can gently blow hot air across it and pull with tweezers those little teeny chip capacitors, chip resistors off of boards, and do the rework there necessary. Still can be done with a soldering iron. Back in the days, we used to use 2, just tap them together and flip it. That was my Motorola days. For a few dollars, you can get these little tweezers. Hot tweezers. So you heat your part up, squeeze it, take it off. They work okay. So, again, don't go out and buy all this stuff until you need it, I guess is the right answer. You may never need it. You may not ever get to the point where you're pulling chip caps off a board. Or you might depend on somebody else to do that work for you, right? Find somebody that can solder, have them help you. But that's all good stuff. So that's the bench. And this pretty much suits my needs for, yeah, basically everything I need to do. What's not on here are computers for programming. We'll get into that in a minute. I'm not a very good programmer, but it is necessary. So let me step around the camera, and let's walk you through the shack here. Oh, can I pull back? Any wider? No. Okay. What you're seeing here is my SBE33. This station was released in 1964, same year I was born. I do have an affinity for it. Somewhere in the shack here, I've got an old QST magazine from 1964. I think, in fact, my birthday, July 18th of 1964, or July of 1964. And it's got the advertisement for this radio in there, which I think is very cool. So sad that QST is no longer, or you can't get a paper copy. So yeah, all these old ads and things are just going to be lost to some cloud service somewhere. So let me just walk you through real quick. SB33, this is the transceiver. It is sideband only. When this came out, most people had AM and CW. Sideband was relatively new. And so, yeah, I just want to add sideband to my existing station, and this was the way to do it. Next to it is the matching amplifier. Of course, you can see, maybe you can't see. Swing the camera a little to the right here. The matching microphone. And so, yeah, nice little station. And then finally, to the far left, this is the matching, although it's not put out by Sideband Engineering. It's the DEOY. Automatic antenna tuner. Same basic ears. You can see they look pretty close features. This is an actual automatic antenna tuner. You would push the automatic button, and these knobs would spin. There's motor controls in there, and they would kind of randomly spin, and it would find that null and then stop, and then you'd come in and fine tune it. Analog solution, right, to what we do digitally today with relays and everything else. Now, going below that is my holocrafter station. I've got a holocraft S38 receiver. They're not great receivers, but you tune them up, line them, and it's an AM receiver. This one has the BFO in it, so I can receive CW. Next to that is the holocrafter's keyer, matching keyer. So this keyer does what? Yeah, it creates the dots and dashes for Morse code. Next to that is the variable frequency oscillator. So it's my VFO for the transmitter. And these are kind of getting to be hen's teeth to find. So if you're interested in building these stations and you find these on eBay or at Hamfest or wherever, you might want to pick it up because they are getting difficult to find. So more about the VFO. Well, why do I need a VFO? Because the HT40 transmitter was a good novice transmitter, but it was rock bound. Crystal. I think I can get that to focus, but that's a 3885 crystal for the AM guys on 3885. So we as novices were not allowed to have VFOs for the most part because they thought we couldn't build a stable one and we'd be drifting all over the bands. So we were rock bound. We had to use crystals, and as you moved into your advanced and general class license, you were able to use a VFO. Nowadays, yeah, everybody uses a VFO because it's all commercial equipment and very stable. So there you go. That's my collection of boat anchors. They make me happy. Use it once or twice a year for the old AM net nights or boat anchor night. But it's fun to have something like this that may not be as reliable, but sure is fun when you can pull off a QSO. Moving on to my HF station. My HF station is an ICOM. Let's see if I can get this steady for you. It's just the ICOM 7851. Lots of videos about this radio out there. It has lots of neat features. But I'm not going to do a video review on that, but that's the HF station. Behind that, or next to that, SWR meter, my antenna rotator, Antenna switch for my outdoor antennas, HF antennas, I can switch remotely. I don't have to bring them all in here to do that. Behind that, I have a 7-foot rack, 8-foot rack, 7-foot, 19-inch rack. That rack actually extends through the bench and down to the floor. But on top of the bench, what you see at the top side is my Alpha 87 amplifier, my 2-meter legal limit amplifier. There we go, turn some light on. 70 centimeter, 440, 500 watt amplifier, and my 1296 600 watt amplifier. Under the bench, which you won't be able to see, is power distribution, power supplies, some filtering, and whatnot. So, next to that is my audio rack. This is inbound and external audio. Right back off. If I can get in there, I'm not doing. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this. So we'll try it again. Okay. With the audio rack, I'm processing with the W4HY stuff. I know a lot of you guys don't like that. It's suiting my purposes right now. I've got the 8-band equalizer, EQ Plus, for my transmit audio. My receive audio, I also run through a graphic equalizer booster and a switch that'll feed speakers in the ceiling. Above that is my audio spectrum analyzer, hello radio. And what you see there is a pretty nice flat response, and that's what I'm after. I'm not trying to sound bassier than, I'm not trying to sound deeper than I am. I have a squeaky voice as it is, and you can see that. I'm not lifting much bass, but that's my voice, so got to work with what you're dealt. Next to that, from VHF, I have the Icon 9700. Pretty simple rig, pretty standard. Perfect for satellite work, VHF, UHF, sideband. I do single sidebands on VHF and UHF. Find a lot of fun. So that's my VHF station. And then finally, my backup rig, Icon 7000. This does VHF and HF. Does all modes. This is a 20-year-old radio. This was put out, when, good grief, what was it? The Kenwood TS2000, the Yaesu FT857D. This is the age of this radio. So full color display, which is really cool. It does support external monitor, which is really, which is unheard of. Even my 9700 that's built today doesn't do that. The 7300 didn't do that. The 7300 Pro, which just came out this year, I think is now supporting an external monitor. So yeah, ICOM, I guess, didn't see the value in that. They went away from it, but we as hams appreciate that. So on top of that is a spectrum analyzer, I would say pan adapter would be the right word. And yeah, the Icon 7000 never came with this, so we're going to IF tap it, put in a pan adapter in, add read control and touchscreen, so that I can control the radio with touchscreen and or the rig itself. Brings it up into the modern age. I'm doing a whole video series on that. I've already released video number 1, so go back and look if you haven't seen that, because I'm about to start recording video 2 probably this weekend. But I'm going to take you through all the steps to bring this thing up to the modern age. And if you have any questions about, I think I've said this already, but if you have any questions about anything you've seen here, just pop me an email. Find me on Facebook. Reply to this video, and I will try to answer your questions either individually, or if it's sophisticated enough or enough people are questioning, I'll do a special video on it. This is my novice station. I got my novice when I was 12. I spent $35 on this bad boy at a Baltimore Ham Fest, and it originally came with the antenna tuner, the radio, an SWR bridge, and a crystal calibrator to keep me on frequency. I have, over the years, added a few more pieces to it. And have even going to start modifying it with some outboard DSP and audio audio DSP just because there's, yeah, of course, this isn't a very sophisticated video. Puts out 1/2 watt, by the way. And I almost worked all states with this on 1/2 watt at 40 meters of CW only. Below that is a, this is somebody gave to me. It's an old Century 21. BFO is in good shape. That's very hard to find. Often these need rebuilt. No output power. I had to get in there and look at what happened to the finals. Probably, somebody abused this somewhere along the way. That'll be a future project. So, this is the shack of KA4UPW. If it looks dark, it kind of is. I painted it black. I put the foam on the walls everywhere I can to keep the echo down and flatten the noise. I do that because I don't want the echo and the noise and the reverberation and the room conditions to be what I transmit out. I would rather, set the graphic equalizer, a little bit of echo reverb into it, and broadcast what I want to go out. Of course, what's shack without hand clock running? We've got some display for some future growth. That's going to be a Hermu Light 2 with true, what do they call it, pure signal on it. I'm going to have to turn this light back on again. Okay, I think that's on. Scanning down, this is what Dennis dubbed as my data center. I thought that was kind of a silly name, but I said it's stuck. So what you see here is 4 Raspberry Pis to run various things, and below that are 2 PCs, little teeny PCs, when running Windows 11, I think, maybe 10, and that's for the stuff that you can really only do with Windows. Again, all my radios are connected via RS or via the Cat6. I'm trying to keep Wi-Fi to a minimum in the shack. This main rack, the distributor, goes to fiber, and it's fiber from the shack to the internet source. And that's just to keep noise down, right? I don't want my cables picking up noise. And of course, glass fiber is immune. Underneath here is a mess of power supplies, amplifiers, and whatnot. And we will, we'll get into this as time allows as I'm working down there. But there's a lot going on under the bench and above the bench. I do enjoy these 19-inch racks. 19-inch desktop rack. So when I get this done, it'll be slid back in place, slid back in place. It helps me keep all the wires and everything in the rack and not on the shack. I don't like wires on my bench. Mic is fed from the rear, CW, everything else. All the wires that I can get off the bench, I do. Even my keyboard doesn't have a mouse. I've got a touchscreen. Simply gets one more thing off the bench. So you're going, well, that's a lot of wires on the bench. Yeah, I'm still rewiring the shack. This is my microphone switcher. This allows me to switch between the 2 radios. Also allows me to adjust the gain for each radio individually, so that I can, each radio has its own needs. So I don't have to constantly flip switches when I'm switching radios. Microphone I'm using is a classic Shure SM7B. It's a standard studio microphone. You see a lot of YouTubers using it, a lot of hand guys using it. And like I said, it produces a nice flat audio response. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, radio. And again, I feed that all into the back. So this is the shack. This is its current state. Most of the computers aren't hooked up or wired. The Hermes light isn't built yet. I still got a IF tap, a bunch more of these 7000s. So if there's anything you see here you like, just follow along. You can like the channel and subscribe, or you can just remember to find me when time allows. And follow along for the fun. Well, that's greetings from the Hamshack of KA4UPW.